Hi, welcome everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm waiting for a few people to come in. Let me make sure it is set to public because the other day, oh, there's three. Okay, it is set to public. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming in. It's another Thursday night live. If you have any questions about canning, um, go ahead and stick them. Hey, Ginger Ninja, stick them in the chat. I can't see the chat on my phone, so it'll be a little slow here. I'm talking somebody through canning the first time, and so I'm watching that on my phone while I do this. The timing just kind of fell this way for them, so they've never done it before, and I told them I would talk them through it on my phone. So let's see if I can the light a little bit better. Hey, Lake Fairy and Bigfoot, thank you for coming in. Julie Zaro, thank you. Hello. Louis Master Mateo, thank you for coming in. So, Beck will be here in a few minutes with me. Um, Not a whole lot planned for tonight. Actually, I should grab my paper. I have notes. I should have grabbed my notes. We've been making dinner. Hey, Hendo, thank you for popping in. Thank you so much. Victoria Taylor, welcome. Beach Flower, welcome. Thank you all for being here. I am so excited. I am only 270 hours away from my 4,000 hour goal. So that is very exciting. 2 days in a row, they took 10 away from me. And then last night, they gave me like almost 100. So I'm like, yes. I don't know what I did to deserve it because nothing was different, but it must be all of you really helping me get my hours. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, LP. Oh, thank you for watching my chat with Josh. Yes. So hopefully, maybe one of them will pop up here. Becca's coming. Hi, Kelly Estes from Florida. Welcome. If you guys have any canning chest questions, go ahead and put it through. I am kind of watching my phone. I was gonna use my notes on my phone, but watching my phone. I had a really good question in canning group, and I'm going to do a video on it. I got a Christmas exciting thing this week. I got a Christmas card in the mail yesterday. It had been mailed out on December 20th, and it just got to my house yesterday, which is kind of ironic. I complain that I don't get my mail from the post office, and everybody's like, "Oh, it can't be that bad. It can't really be that bad. It's that bad." I just got this letter. Oh, yes, I've been watching. Um, there's Waylon Jennings' grandson Hendo and somebody else's daughter or granddaughter, and they sing together, and they're really, really good. Hi, Grey Wolf Outdoors. Thank you for coming in. Beach flower, yes, I have canned mustard greens. I did it for the greens or thyme. Everything gets a little bit stronger in the canner in that cabbage family kind of thing. So make sure you really like them, or you really have a good way of preparing them that kind of cuts the flavor, because they do get much stronger after canning. Much stronger. Yeah, you saw that video too. Are they good? I really enjoy watching some of them, and I remember watching, you know, the originals, their grandparents. But yeah, it was a belated Christmas card, and it literally, you could see that the post office, it had arrived at my post office because they wrote a little note on the bottom, 12/23, and then they just been somewhere. It's just been somewhere since then. It's kind of, yeah, but it just highlights the problems I've had. And it doesn't do me any good to complain about my local post office, because my local post office polices itself. I've had my friend actually complained all the way to the postmaster general, and nothing has changed. It's still bad. They, you know, they tell the postmaster to fix it. Well, he's part of the problem. You don't like mustard greens, beach flower, but your husband does. I'm going to plant some this year. So I'll probably be doing a video on canning them once they are done. You just have to really wash them really well and blanch them and pack them really tight, because if you don't pack them really tight, you wind up with like this much in a big jar. So the other secret to mustard greens or any greens is to really pack them tight. Yes, Hendo, snail mail here is really an understatement. And yeah, it's a problem. And I'm not the only one that had the problem. I just happened to be, my house is the last one on the route. So if she's running late and has something she wants to do, she just skips my house and nobody cares that she doesn't deliver my mail. And I really believe that, because I have informed delivery that tells me when I'm supposed to get mail within 3 or 4 days. No, I'm in the United States. Yes, in the United States of America. And I am in a town. This problem is, my property out in the country does not have a mailbox, and it does not have an address. So I don't get mail at my cabin. Thank you so much for popping in. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for sharing me out, Lake Fairy, Bigfoot. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Bigfoot and Lake Fairy. You were separate, and it's hard for me to get it together. Thank you. Hendo, I am in Michigan, and that's as much as I'll share. But I am in northern central Michigan. And yeah. So yeah. Everybody on this person's route has a problem, though. I won't say anything more. That's all I'm going to say. Beach flower. I saw on your Facebook group that someone crinkle cut sweet potato fries and then canned them. Have you, and how are they? I do regular potatoes crinkle cut, and I can them. I always put water in mine. I never dry can them, and they turn out wonderful. Then when I open the can, I do French fries too, and crinkle cut. I love my crinkle cutter. I love to do my pickles that way too. And then I just pat them dry, and then I can put them in my air fryer. I can put them in my oven. I can deep fry them if they're patted dry, and they turn out really good, actually. You just have to cut them when you're doing potatoes, whether it's sweet potatoes or white potatoes. You have to cut them just slightly bigger than what you want it to end up, because they do have a little bit of shrinkage in the jar, and you lose a little bit of the starch, so they get just a tad bit smaller. So you want to cut them just a little bit more than what you want them to be. But you can even like do steak fries and stuff, and they turn out really good. Nope, Hendo, not the East Coast. I'm right here in the Midwest. Kelly Estes. I know Canadian mail is horrible. Too bad there isn't another countrywide service. You know, they're putting themselves out of business, is what I'm saying, because people, if they really want it to get there on time and they really want to make sure it's delivered, are not using the postal service. They're using private mail here in the U.S. It's just bad. Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for coming in. Hello again, Lewis. Yep. Okay, Midwest. Yes, right here in the middle. So, oops. Okay. I'm watching my phone because I'm talking somebody through pressure canning for the first time. So I have to do it through text right now. So, and it's just coming up to pressure for her. So we're just kind of, hi, Lori's World. So, yeah, I'm just trying to text her. So, hi, Lori's World. Yes, Charlotte, I have canned cream cheese, and I love it. It turns out really good. I think it's amazing. I should do a video on that. I haven't done one. Um, I can't think of I follow, she hasn't made any videos in 4 years. I can't think of her name. When Becca comes in, I'll have her remind me of the name of who it is that does the really good, she also does the butter recipe that I follow, on YouTube. Cat's Cradle. I follow Cat's Cradle on YouTube, and that's who, even though she hasn't done the video in years, that's who I copy with the cream cheese and my butter. Yes, everybody hit that thumbs up button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, yes, I will do a cream cheese video. I have it coming out. I It's on my plan, and I want to do a queso or nacho cheese video too. I do have my queso recipe, but it has meat in it, so I don't can that one. I'm going to can it without the meat and then can the meat separate, and then I'll put them together at the end. Um, Becca just did a video that she's hijacking my channel and doing a video on her Alfredo sauce. It's not a canning recipe, but oh my goodness, is her Alfredo sauce wonderful. And that should come out sometime in the next couple of days. And I am excited. Dinner tonight is tortellini with Alfredo sauce and Parmesan cheese, fresh Parmesan cheese melted on top, and garlic bread. I like a little garlic with my garlic on top of my garlic. So dinner tonight should be fabulous, and you'll all get to see it, because she made a video of it for my channel. So that's pretty exciting. Homestead Aquarius, hi. How are you tonight? I should grab my notes. Becca will be in here in a few minutes. I'll send her to get my notes. But I am babysitting my phone. I have someone I'm talking through. Hey, Josh, if you want to come up, the link is in the link. I can always do an update on your goats. But yeah. But my notes are out there. Becca's dishing up dinner. We're a little behind here today, so working on that. Kelly Estes. But that's if you can find cream cheese. That and half are in very short supply here. And $6 for butter. Oh my goodness. I get a lot of butter at the holidays and can it or freeze it. I like to buy it on sale. It's usually on sale in November and December. So I try to get enough for the year when it's really, that's the lowest prices here in the States, is during our Thanksgiving and our Christmas. Should go on sale again for Easter, but I'm not sure if it will or not. I love you too. Thank you, Sawyer. Georgina, welcome. I'm curious about canning bread. Instead of bake it in the oven, what if I were to steam can it with the canning lid on? Have you tried that, or anyone you know of who has? There's a lot of steamed bread recipes, a lot of Boston steamed breads, and they're canned and sold in stores. And yes, I have heard of people doing it. Bread is not something I've done. I've done a lot of like banana bread. I just haven't done the brown breads. My kids aren't into the healthy breads. They're not into the healthy ones. Charlotte, what are you canning? Let me go back up here. I forgot what you were. Oh, yeah, you can have gaps. What you do, Charlotte, to make sure you don't have gaps in the jars is to, as you're kind of filling them, have boiling hot water, like a double boiler system, where you have a pan with boiling hot water and you set your jars in that, and as you're filling them, it's kind of melting below, so you're heating those jars up almost like you're water bathing or steam canning them as you're heating them, and you're heating them up, and that'll help it melt, so that you can make sure before you actually go ahead and can it that you have them all melted down in the jar, so that you have a full jar and not a lot of air gaps. But the air gaps aren't really a huge issue. At the top, your headspace, it's not going to be a huge issue, but it'll last longer and be better if you do try to melt it so it gets all out of there. Everybody saying hi to everybody. Thanks for coming in and out, Lori. I just really appreciate everybody coming. Mississippi flower. I canned Mississippi pork roast the other day. My altitude for pressure is 10. And after 45 minutes of my 47 minutes, my pressure dropped to 9. Yes, I would actually, it depend. This is a personal thing. The by the book answer is if it drops below, you should restart your time. But if it's just like a quick minute and you see it and you're turning your heat back up and it gets right back up, and it only dropped to 9, I would not necessarily start my time over as long as it comes right back up right away. If it's a longer time than that, then yes, you should really start your time over. And technically, the right answer is to start over. Oh, I didn't post the link here yet, Lewis. I wanted to cover some things before I post the link. Give me a minute. I'll post it, okay? Yeah. But yeah, I just need 270 hours and okay, yeah, then bring the time back up. Yep. But technically the answer, beach flower, the answer technically is you should start it over and done the whole time over. But if it just dropped to 9 for just like a minute or so, I would just, get it right back up to 10 and not worry about it. And if it dropped any lower than that, I would definitely start my time over. Personally, that's what I personally do. So I'm at 270 hours now. Thank you, everybody. You guys have been amazing. Like I said, I did not have a video, and so I don't know why it jumped up so high all of a sudden, because it had been docking me when I did have videos that it shouldn't have been, I didn't think. But I can never figure out their formula or their rhyme or reason. And so yeah, I don't know Facebook or what YouTube with their time, what they're doing, but I'm at 270. I am really, really, really close. Really, really, really close. And then I am only, let me look again at this number. 1 second here. Pull it up. I am only 139 away from 5,000 subscribers. So I'm very, very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. So, it could be your stove that makes it do that. It's it's really a hard answer. I'm not really sure. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. My guess would be it's how evenly your stove heats. Like I know when I turn it up, it takes a while for that to kick in, and I know when I turn my stove down, it comes down really fast too. But other people's stoves and other stoves I've used, it's not so quick. So you may have adjusted it up or adjusted it down, and it just went farther after a few minutes. It's just the way the stove adjusts, and every stove is just a little bit different. There could have been a large breeze that came in that affected the temperature where you're working. It's hard for me to really tell without having really been there. Canning rice. It is not recommended. It is not USDA approved. Just a second. I'm working with somebody on their first time canning, so I'm really trying to pay attention. It just kind of happened that it fell right when this was going on. So I got to answer her questions because she's nervous about using her canner for the first time. So just bear with me. Sorry. Sorry. Becca's supposed to be in here with me, but she's dishing up. thinner, so no time fillers here. Um, okay, back to the question about rice. Sorry. So, canning rice. I do not personally can rice on purpose. If I have made something that has rice in it and I want to can my leftovers, I do. But I know that the rice is going to split. Personally, I don't like the texture of canned rice. Um, a lot of the highly processed rice will split, and it just doesn't have the same good texture I like. So I don't do that. Also, when I am heating up foods to cook, I can put the rice in there, and by the time the food is heated up and been, at a boil for 10 minutes, like my soup, or my meat or whatever, my rice is done. And it takes up a lot of space in jars. Excuse me again. It takes up a lot of space to put rice in jars. So personally, rice is not something that I like to cook. But yes, there are videos. There's a lot of instruction about it in my Facebook group. A lot of people do it, even though it is a big no-no, according to the USDA. So it's one of those things you have to decide for yourself. Maybe try a very small batch first before you waste a lot of time and energy to see if you really like it. Some people really like it. There is a really good recipe from the Amish for rice pudding canned. And that I don't mind being a little more, gummy, soupy. So that isn't actually very bad. That's pretty good to can. But as far as just like having rice and things, I don't can it in there. I just add it when I cook it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm also on some other platforms. So, Georgina, I live in a large city, and I notice food costs are lower in low income and ethnic grocery stores. They're also well stocked. Butter is 75 cents to $1 cheaper. Yes, I buy all of my spices at ethnic grocery stores because they are half what I would get at my box store. And so I go to an ethnic Mexican grocery, and for $1, I can get twice as much spice as I would get if I bought it at my local big box store. So yeah, I agree. That's a great place. Also, Mennonite and Amish groceries are much cheaper. Oh, yeah. Hi. Oops. Whatever. Here. Show. There we go. Yes, it could be a factor of humidity too. That could um, heating up the air around your stove and rapidly cooling it can affect your temperature. Hey Diggs, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Kelly Estes. Even at $5 a pound for butter, it makes me gasp. I'm an hour south of Orlando. Wow. Yeah. I think we're still close to $3.89 a pound here for butter. Hey, Caitlin. Welcome. How to garden? Good evening. Yeah. You don't even actually have to really vacuum seal rice in the oven. It will keep really well. Um, but you can. And put a bay leaf in there when you're vacuum sealing it to help keep the bugs out. Oh, Caitlin says Middle Eastern stores will have spices you won't find elsewhere. I love shopping at such a store in my city. Plus, I'm friends with the owners and staff. I would love to shop at a Middle Eastern grocery. They have some of the best spices in the world, and I really love Indian food. But unfortunately, the closest one to me is 4 hours south of here, and so I usually only get there once a year if I'm lucky. It's not in a place I'd prefer to travel to. Oh yes, that's another good point. If it was a glass stove, the glass stoves sometimes think they should have control. If it is something that's automated like that, it may try to some kinds of smart burners will try to regulate the heat for you. That's a very good point. Thank you very much, Kelly, for bringing that to my attention. I didn't even think about saying that. I very happily took my glass stove to the stove graveyard. It is not my favorite thing to can on whatsoever. So, but yeah, I had accidentally posted 2 videos today. So the Merry Christmas one came out. It was supposed to come out tomorrow because I just filmed it today. And then the one on the canning lids I posted today, the what you can use to store your dry goods in, it came out today. And that one has done really, really well. So thank you everyone for watching that. That one has done really, really well. So, but I'm going to go ahead and throw the link up here. I guess Becca is not. If anybody wants to come up, I'm going to go ahead and post the link in here. Andy Eddings, hello Rebels. I hope all of you are getting your seeds into trays and getting your garden plants growing. I am definitely working on that. My stuff I planted on Sunday's live, the microgreens is already this high. I'm very excited. And then my apple tree, I showed you on a couple lives before, totally unfurled its second set of leaves, and it's now got a third true leaf. So it has 5 leaves on it now. I'm very, very excited. And I've got a bunch of stuff. I bought some more seeds today. And then Garden State Gardener sent me my seed I won in the mail, and he sent me 4 other packages with it. So I have 5 more things. I'm going to have to plant them all, right? So my favorite thing to can, that's a hard question. I think right now it is strawberry rhubarb pie filling, because that stuff is really good on ice cream. It has yet to make it to a pie. It's really good on ice cream. Hi, Kelly. You're in the live, Kelly.
Do I get to talk?
Yeah, just go ahead and talk. You're live.
Oh, I see what's happening.
Hey, how's it going?
Sort of like a Zoom. Cool.
Okay, you have to turn off the video or mute it.
Me?
Yes, Kelly, turn off the original video you were playing, because we can hear it in the background.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay, be back.
All right, now I think we'll be able to hear you better. You were kind of like an echo.
Uh-oh. Hello?
Hi, go ahead and talk. You're there.
Do you still have me? No, I'm still. Hang on. I'll try again.
All right. All right, still working with the lady I'm teaching to can, so sorry, sometimes I'm with my phone there. I'm going to go ahead and talk to the chat here, Kelly, while you get figured out. Oh, I lost Lewis. I don't know where he went. Come on back, Lewis, if you want. Oh, and I lost Kelly. I don't know what's going on now. Charlotte Justine, I made raspberry jam, and right now, raspberry syrup. So I'm over my stove. I love raspberry syrup. Okay, there's Lewis. He's coming back. Hi, Lewis.
How's it going?
I don't know. Maybe it's my internet tonight because everybody sounds like they're a robot. Yeah. Okay. Bye, Sawyer.
Hi, everyone.
Hey! Hi, Mark. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Laura. Oops. Hi, Laura. Thanks for coming in. Mark, I put the link if you want to come up, if you're feeling brave. Hi, Pathways. Hello. There's Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hello. Gotta find a place. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm putting the link in. My friend Mark might come up too.
Oh, nice. Hi, Pathways.
I don't know. My internet's a little wonky tonight, I think.
Yeah, I know what that's about.
You've had to learn where all the good spots are in your house, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis, your audio is really weird. You sound like a tin can. I'm sorry.
You sound like a robot, Lois.
Oh, okay. David Green. What is
Be my dog.
Green? New to canning. Thankfully, just found your channel, and I'm about to order an American canner. Which one would you
Nice.
recommend? I think I'm going for the next size up from the 921. Well, in my Facebook group, well, I can actually tell you what it is. If you decide to go with the 921, right now you can get $38 off. I posted the link on my community tab to the discount. It's a TikTok 10 is the discount. The link to where it's for sale is in my community tab. One of my good friends from the Rebel Canners Facebook group is affiliated with All American because of one of her TikToks about canning hit 1 million views. And
Nice.
so for the first time ever, they're offering a discount, and she shared the code with me, and it's in my community tab on YouTube. And I also posted it to the Facebook group.
My goodness, that's unheard of.
That's the first time they've ever done it. So if you want a 921, it's only for the 921. If you can afford something bigger than the 921, I would definitely recommend it. Just because of being able to double stack more. But you have to make sure that your stove will hold that weight.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's sort of a trade-off. If you have a glass stove, you're not going to want a heavy one. Here it is. So, Louis, you're back, and my friend Mark is here. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
That's got to be the prettiest raccoon I've ever seen.
You have a little bit of echo. Did you turn off your volume to YouTube? But if you see in my videos, the 921 canner is usually what I'm using when I'm using, or just the one below it. I'm not sure. It doesn't have a number on it. It's from 1945. But if you look on there to my videos, David, those are usually the ones that's usually about the size I'm using. So the Bob is in the chat. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob. The Bob stick.
I think he did. I don't know. He just walked in. There's Becca.
Hi, Becca.
Hi. Yeah, David, an All-American is wonderful because they really last a really long time and you don't have to worry about replacing seals. So it's a really good one to learn how to can on too.
That's why I got the All-American to begin with.
Yeah.
Never need a gasket ever, and at some point in our future, you may not be able to get gaskets. So these are metal-to-metal seals, and I got 4 of them now, which is kind of frightening. I only used 2. My wife bought me my first 930, and then I found another 930 up in Maine visiting my mom, and then used for like $200. And then as soon as I got home, I changed my Facebook Marketplace map, and there was a 921 right up the street for $50. So I bought that one like the next day. And in about
I need to keep my eyes out on that.
In really tough shape, and I bought that. And so I got 2 921s, and it took me forever to clean it up because this guy took lubing the mating surfaces to the max. This thing was disgusting, brown. It took me days to clean it up. But I always, whenever I buy a used one, well, since then, I go on Red Hill General Store, and I think I posted the link on Rebel Canners a bunch of times. And I just buy a brand new gauge. Some of these have the old vent on it, so I buy the new pin with a weight and put them on. They're really easy to put on. It's going to be 9/16 wrench or whatever for either one of them. And put them on a little Teflon tape, and they're good to go. And I don't even worry about sending it down the extension office to check the pressure gauge. That's why it has a gauge and a weight. Weight jiggle at 11 pounds, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. That is really, really nice and such a good deal.
I need to keep my eyes on Facebook Marketplace because I don't have one. I have a pressure canner. I have the other major brand, but not American.
Presto,
yeah.
Presto.
I have Presto.
Don't get me wrong, they're good canners. I got my mom's old canner from 1962.
I love it.
I can still
It
get a
works great.
I just don't use it because it's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have you beat my All-Americans from the 40s.
Nice.
That's cool.
Seen some on Marketplace before they were called All-American. I forget what they were called. They got the big metal thumb screws on it instead of the plastic ones. And those are pretty cool, but I'm kind of weary. If the bottom is a little bit pitted out, somebody might have used it for the wrong thing. So you don't want to take a chance on it blowing on you. Not that I've ever seen a pressure canner blow, and that picture is fake, and we all know it. Sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you this one time, Mark.
Oh, thanks.
Because I love you.
I forgot. I'll email you my phone number so you can just text me next time.
Yes.
I know email is kind of, yeah.
No. Mark, Becca, Mark. When I first started my Facebook group, Mark sent me all sorts of wonderful graphics and memes. And all of the wonderful Star Wars ones at the beginning of the Facebook group.
Then yes, he's the same one because he came into your live the other day.
Yeah.
Hello. And that was not a flip off. I'm sorry if I clicked and I thought about that. If I clicked the wrong little emoticon, I thought it was a wave. I didn't know it was like a bird. That was my bad. I'm like, oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean to flip you off.
That's about the prettiest raccoon I've ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't feel like putting my face on. I'm in my shop and it's a mess. So.
It's okay. I know you. I just we tend to like people to at least show their face when they're first, come on, but there's exceptions.
Well,
if I know your voice or I know you, that's different.
I did enough live stream feeds at like midnight on New Year's Eve opening chocolate cake and got yelled at by so many people for, you can't give your dogs chocolate. I'm like, it's chocolate cake that was a year old. The dogs are fine. They eat more Easter bunnies every year, and they're fine. But
Some
Yeah, I
dogs
still
can
don't
handle
think-
it, some can't.
Yeah.
No, it's the type of chocolate.
Right, and there's only like 2% cacao in
Yeah.
chocolate mix. It's not enough to do anything.
Baking chocolate will kill them.
Yeah.
I've shown dogs for 30 years. One
Oh,
of the
that's
things
cool,
I don't-
Kelly.
Sorry, I don't put my picture up. I'm laying down in bed.
Good point. You can put a raccoon picture up.
Actually, I should put up my sister-in-law's raccoon. She feeds on her deck in Maine.
There you go.
Oh my God, they're round, just perfectly round.
That would be perfect then, right?
Yes. Except for the bears that walk across the same deck because
Mm-hmm.
they're eating the stuff too. But anyway, speaking of sister-in-law, I want to talk about a horrific subject.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Kelly. I
Sorry,
don't know if you
can
can
you hear better?
turn your volume up a little bit. I think part of it's because the heater kicked on behind me. No, I'm at 100%.
Sister-in-law. Okay, my sister-in-law does not can her meat, spaghetti sauce, and chili. She says she cans it, but she doesn't pressure can it. She doesn't water bath can it. She makes it. When can I expect my brother to die from food
Oh,
poisoning?
she open kettles it where she just puts it boiling hot into boiling hot jars.
Yes. With
Is
meat.
it just tomatoes in there, or is it
No, it's meat.
Oh no,
Meat
that's
sauce.
you can do just tomatoes that way, but not meat.
Yeah.
No.
I
No,
know.
that's-
What?
Wow.
I'm
Yeah,
terrified she's going to kill him.
Yeah, even us rebels won't do that.
No, I know.
That's-
I follow. And
I mean, just because. Wait. Didn't I make a meme about this one? Just because the lid goes ping doesn't mean your food is magically preserved. It doesn't work
yeah.
that way.
If that were the case, we could all use Tupperware.
Yeah.
that's true.
Good point, Tammy.
You know, if you wouldn't put it in a Tupperware container and leave it on your counter for a week and come back and eat it, you should not do that in a canning jar either.
And
Just
she
saying.
says that, her family has done it for years. And I'm thinking, you've just gotten lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody who takes their canning jars and boils them in their soup and then takes them out and puts the lids on and lets them sit and cook. We're talking about things even rebels won't do tonight, okay, folks? This is a
Wow.
and then she was complaining to me all the time about how sick her kids were, and it's like, well, I think I know why. I'm not eating at your house.
I've seen people
there's
do
things that rebels will not do.
right. I've seen people do the upside down jam. Like they'll put the hot jam in a can and put it upside down in some water and expect.
That's actually not necessarily
That's how I
bad
found
thing.
out.
The only reason you don't need to turn it upside down because the jam and the sugar can get in between the rim and your lid and ruin your seal. So you don't really want to turn it upside down. The reason they did that is because they didn't sanitize their lid and they want their jelly to actually heat up and sanitize their lid. Much better to just water bath it.
Of course you do, Bob.
Yes, Bob has a brand new pressure. I bet it's an All-American too, isn't it, Bob?
Mhm.
A big All-American canner. Bob is trying to lure me into his basement. I got there once and now I'm not going back, Bob.
You don't buy.
So when I learned how to make jam, it was actually to not water bath it. You hot pack it, but you boil your jars and your lids, and then you put them all together hot. You pull your jar out of your boiling water. You pack it while the jam is still hot, boiling, and then you put your hot lid on it. You put your ring on it. You flip it over for 10 minutes and let it sit, and then you flip them back right side up, and put a towel over them and let them cool. That's how I learned how to make jam.
A lot of people also flip them just because they want the fruit to be all the way through the jar. If you leave it not flipped, if you don't do that flip, your fruit will tend to settle in the jar. So
Mm.
a lot of the old timers did that to keep the fruit even throughout the jar. But
Okay.
yeah.
So there's actually a science behind just hot jars, hot jam, because when you boil water at sea level, it's 212 degrees. When you start adding sugar and stuff to it, stick your thermometer in there when it's boiling. That sucker's up around 250. That's why you burn yourself. You don't taste it. So you killed everything. If your jars are hot, you put the jam in there in a hot jar, bring it up to 1/4 inch headspace, and put the sanitized lid on there. Yeah, you're probably pretty good because it is so hot in that jar, you killed everything. So that works with jellies and jams because if you ever made candy, you got the candy thermometer, you got that thing boiling, it's like 475 degrees. You don't want to stick your finger in there, and trust me, there's nothing living in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can pour that in a jar, be hard as a rock, everything's going to be fine. So as long as the temperature of the jar reaches that 245 for a period of time, or your food product did, and you don't introduce anything, that's when everything's dead. And the fact that your friend whoever's on there, that her friend just puts hot food in a jar and puts the lid on it and calls it a day, yeah, she's lucky.
That's not something we're ever going to admit.
Whatever.
Accept in our group. I mean, we're going to tell you that's not good,
No.
So,
there is the, and I posted, you remember I posted all my 1932 ball blue book from my mom all the time. Yeah, everybody bought it back. There was no pressure cookers back in the 30s and 40s. There were, but nobody could afford them.
No.
So 3 hours. You cook something for 3 hours, yeah, you pretty much killed everything. You don't want to let it sit on the shelf for 4 years. But you also destroyed most of the nutrient value in your food by doing it. But it is what it is. It worked, and my grandma did it, and we all survived.
If that's all they had to survive, though, if that's all you had to do, you only had a water bath canner to survive. A lot of countries, that's all they ever use. And that's what gets them through until the next crop. That's not something I'm going to say, oh, you can't do that.
No,
like David Green said, it's okay to be a rebel, but be a smart one.
Yeah.
90% of Europe they can't get pressure canners over there. They haven't been able to really ever. They have to order from America. And that's a thing the FDA came up with, back in the 40s or 50s, that it's better to do this. That's why the ball blue book keeps getting thinner and less times, because they don't have the money to do the proper the studies on all these foods. So these foods just keep disappearing off the list.
And the USDA and the food preservation division of it is the first place they cut funds. Let's be honest. They're not putting any funds into that.
Yeah.
Robert from Homestead Aquarius, I have a comment here. Y'all going to push me into getting an all-American canner soon. I have wanted one for years. Better get one soon while they're available and affordable. Right now, you can get $38. It has never had a discount before. Right now in my things is a discount. You can get $38 off of it. You will probably never see another discount offered by All American. Right? Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put the
link. She'll text you the link, but it's in my
it's in group.
Yeah. I've got to get Sarah to come up and be on a live with us.
I think she has a channel too.
She does. She has a TikTok, not a YouTube.
She has YouTube. She started YouTube, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because people were pushing her to add longer videos.
Okay.
Would you talk a little bit about the long rectangular canners that the Amish use?
Water bathers.
The square water bathers. Those are really nice because you can put so many more jars in them at once, and they cover 2 burners. It's like the old boilers that you used to have on a wood stove, and so you put it over two burners, and it will boil, and you can put twice as many jars in it, and most of them are big enough you can double stack. Lehman's sells them. It's the only place I have seen them for sale is in Lehman's hardware catalog.
That's
awesome. A lot of the Amish use them because they get families together and they will can up 400 jars of water bathable materials, fruits and all that. So they need the bigger can.
They also do it right on open fires in their yard over
Yep.
top with their galvanized stock feeders too.
Yeah,
right over top of the fire.
As long as I can boil water and hold, everybody's like, I need a special enameled pot water bath. No, you don't.
No.
You just need a pot that you can fit your jars in, the water covers it, and doesn't fall over the stove.
Yeah.
The only reason I bought a water bath canner is because it was cheaper than trying to buy a big old stock pot. Because I got a water bath canner for like $20.
Oh, this is true. I have one. I just never used it. I picked it up on another. I picked up a whole bunch of those the old bail lid jars, and the lady gave me her water bath canner. It's got some chips in it, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's chipped." I'm like, "It doesn't matter. It's just water. It's not touching your food. Rust through, throw it out. Get another one."
I bought the.
I've only seen one rust through. It wasn't one of mine. I went to buy one at a garage sale, and it had a great big hole in the bottom. And the lady's like, "Oh, I can't sell that." And I'm like, "Can I buy the top?"
Oh,
right.
I bought the top so I had an extra lid. Because sometimes the lids are the things you can't find with them that people don't know they go together when they're selling them.
I have the Ball electric one, and I love it because I can put it next to my sink, and it's got a little faucet thing on it.
But I'm going to warn you on this. I have heard of that. You let it cool before you run it to your sink because the water in that gets so hot that it's actually melted the seal in the bottom of people's sink around the trap.
Okay.
So don't open the valve and let that water out right away, or you could wind up melting the silicone in your sink if it's a silicone seal.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
I'm sneaking through here. I'm just
So what does everybody know about oxygen absorbers? I have some interesting data on that.
I have never used them.
Okay. So I bought a bunch of them because I bought the Mylar bags. I use a hair straightener to seal them up because you can't do it in your vacuum sealer. It's too thick for the vacuum sealer to seal it. So what oxygen, I'm just going to do the quick education run here. So what oxygen absorbers are, if you go online and pull up the material safety data sheet on any chemical, any product that's sold, you will find in there is iron powder and salt. That's all it is. So, and I did a lot of research on this and did a lot of fun things with it. So that's all they are. So what happens is when iron rusts, it gives off energy, heat. Now, when your metal hammer rusts, you're not going to measure that energy. But when you have all that surface area that starts to oxidize, it gives off a tremendous amount of heat and sucks up the oxygen to make that heat. When it's out of oxygen and moisture, it stops. And now there's no oxygen left. So that's why oxygen absorbers work. Now, on a fun note, yes, those hand warmers, the hot hands, if you pull up the safety data sheet, everybody do their own research. I'm just telling you what I've done. You pull up the safety data sheet, the ingredients in there are iron powder, salt, and vermiculite. The vermiculite is in there to keep it from getting too hot too fast so you don't burn your hands. So if you take an oxygen absorber, and I did it last year, I shook one up and held it. I couldn't hold it for more than 10 seconds. It just got so bloody hot because of so much oxygen. It never runs out. It gets super hot and wipes out its efficacy really quick. So yes, hand warmers, do your research. Make sure it's what you're okay with it. I'm not telling you to do it, that it works. It works for me. I took 2 of them and threw them in a 5-gallon bucket with 30 pounds of rice in there and didn't let it touch the food. I mean, it's not going to matter because it's not getting out to touch the food. I put them in the 5-gallon bucket, so it was probably about 3 or 4 inches of headspace in this bucket. Left it on the floor in my kitchen, went to bed. Next morning I came down, the bucket was collapsed. It had sucked so much oxygen out of there, collapsed, and then it broke the seal because it collapsed too far. So I'm like, okay, I'll start using Mylar bags now. But that you can, well, I would say that it's, there you go, Andy just said the same thing. It's possible to use them. Do your research. They're going to say they're not food safe, and all the special sites are going to say you can't use it. Look at this safety data sheet. The only thing in it is vermiculite. It's inert. It doesn't hurt you. You can eat it if you want. I wouldn't suggest it. And it's just an insulator. It just slows down the heating process. You don't burn your hands. And I buy them usually in the spring when Lowe's, Home Depot, all these stores, they're like, oh, got to get rid of this stuff. It's on sale, 50% off. I'll buy like 6-8 boxes of them, and I'll throw them in half-gallon jars and put the lid on it. And that way, if any of them get shaken up a little bit, it'll pull the oxygen out of the jar and stop the thing. The other fun thing is if you use it in a Mylar bag, and it's wintertime when you open your Mylar bag of rice because you need the rice, you got a hand warmer that still works 3 years later.
Oh wow.
So, fun
That's
tips.
crazy.
All right, my education series is done. I'll be here all night.
I took my best friend on.
I was trying to mute it. I'm sorry.
Naughty Becca.
I know. I was looking for the thing to send to Robert.
Okay. When she tells what size, will you answer her question? Because I can't answer it and do this, and she doesn't realize I'm live. So I am gonna try. Do you think so? You use 2 in a 5-gallon bucket. Andy, can you answer the question? Did you use just 1 in a 5-gallon bucket? Because I kind of want to know how many hand warmers for a 5-gallon bucket. 2 is too many. So I'm assuming 1 is just enough.
I'll just say if depends on how much airspace. Like if you're doing dried corn. It's just an example. So there's a lot of airspace in between. It's like a quart of marbles. There's a lot of air in there, in between the marbles because they're round and whatever. So the more airspace in between your food product, the more oxygen absorbing material you need. The other problem is if it's something very light and fluffy, like say oatmeal, and you do a whole 5-gallon bucket of that, and it's not a Mylar bag, it's just in the bucket. Throw some hot packs in there, hot hand warmers. It'll crush the bucket, and you'll lose the seal. So I would rather do it now. After I did my experiments with bucket, I would rather put it in a Mylar bag or even a seal meal bag. Vacuum out when you can, but drop one. Shake it up, make sure it starts to get warm. That way, it's active. And then you just throw it in the bag with your food. If you want to, put it in a Ziploc bag or some kind of a baggie, not a Ziploc. Mm-hmm. So it's not touching your food if you're worried about that. And any remaining oxygen, it'll suck it even flatter in a seal meal bag.
Okay.
So I wouldn't do it in a 5. You can do it in a 5-gallon bucket with rice and stuff, as long as that sucker is to the top. But you're still going to watch that top suck down, and you may get a little buckle in the side. So I love my buckets.
Tell her 10 for her. Sorry. Yeah, I don't do. Want to hear a little story? I have a little story about why I don't prep my food in 5-gallon pails. So my daughter showed horses. She was very good at it. We went to Michigan State horse equestrian team, and we actually did quite well at states. And so you get up to the next level, and it is at the Detroit Fairgrounds in Detroit, Michigan. It was quite an education. We could hear gunfire throughout the night periodically, and it was not 4th of July. It's right downtown, right by 9 Mile in Detroit, if that gives you a perspective of where we were. And we went by a car wash. And my 2 girls had never seen these animals before. And she's like, Mom, look at the little dogs under the car at the car wash. And I looked over, and they have long, skinny, hairless tails. I'm like, No, those are not chihuahuas. Those are rats. Okay. So we took 5-gallon pails of grain to feed my horse because we were going to be there for the whole week. The first night, we put the 5-gallon pail of grain in the horse barn in front of our horse's stall. When we came back that morning, and we got there in the evening, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, tucked her into bed. We went out for dinner. We came back and checked on her. And then at 6 o'clock in the morning, we came back to start grooming her and getting ready for the horse show. So there was not even really 12 hours that this bucket sat at the Detroit Fairgrounds in the barn. Half of the bucket plastic was gone when I came back in the morning.
Ew.
So if you are in an area where there are rodents of enormous size, plastic buckets are not going to do you any good to store your food in. Just saying.
Yeah.
Would the Mylar be any different?
No, they can eat
No.
right through that in
Now,
seconds.
if they can smell it, they're gonna eat it.
Yeah, if they can eat through a really thick, and it wasn't even like food grade plastic bucket. It was one of those really thick,
Yeah.
old buckets. It was not.
Yeah.
I didn't take my good bucket because I'm going to Detroit. I took an old bucket. Yeah. No.
Yeah, don't store your if you're doing 5-gallon plastic pails or 55 or 30-gallon or 15-gallon drums to store stuff, and you want to put food in it. Don't put. Can you hear me? Okay.
It's a little hard.
Don't
Yeah.
put inside in your barn or whatever where you may get even mice. Mice will smell it. If the dogs at the airport can smell drugs through 25 Mylar bags that they're trying to hide it, let them smell it. And
Yeah.
they're going to chew through it to get to it because they want it.
Yeah. I like metal popcorn tins, and I also like to use glass. So I use a lot of really large pickle jars. Every time I buy a 1-gallon pickle jar, because my kids eat more than I can in a year. Yeah, that's good. More than I can in a year. I just consider that a long-term storage jar. So all of
Nice.
my rice is in 1-gallon pickle jars. Glass and metal lids, they're not going to come through.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just ask, should I put it in glass jars? Yeah, that's a good idea. It depends on your environment. I mean, my basement, I don't have rodents down in the basement. It's a full basement, so I have lots of heavy-duty storage totes with all my Mylar bags in it and all kinds of food. Yeah, I have all. I'm good. Let's go with that. And I'm not worried about rodents getting in, chewing through the tub and then into the bags. And if I get one, it'll be a mouse. There'll be a hunt for the mouse, and I'll get them.
If you have an old freezer, you could put all your Mylar bags in an old freezer.
Yes.
Because you can keep the mice and rats out of that.
Yep.
So.
And you can even bury old freezers
Mm-hmm.
and make them into little root cellars, mini root cellars. I've seen people do that too. I'm that redneck. I know people that do that.
That is true redneck there, Tim.
I'm not that redneck, but I'm sure I will be soon.
Where I live in Michigan, they shipped people from Appalachia up here in the 1930s, and we are like the mountains of Appalachia around here. We're that redneck. We are proud redneck.
Nice.
Tammy, could you tell me a little bit more about that? You say that you're 200 something hours away from something.
If you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, YouTube will pay you for the commercials that they place on your videos. So I am 230 hours away from being monetized, which means I will get like 1/10 of a penny for everybody who watches a commercial they place on my.
I wanted to say something that when I was watching your video, or a couple of your videos today, if you can keep your videos to like 9 minutes around that time, you can put 2 commercials on that video. And
yeah, I'm trying to do longer videos. The problem is I record, and I have a camera. I just record my videos on my phone, and I have so much on my phone right now. I need to upgrade because it won't let me upgrade videos that are longer than 7 or 8 minutes. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
You could dump some of your old ones. That's what I did. And whatever you're using for editing, every once in a while I refresh that. I dump that and restart it, and that helps too.
Yeah, and I have had to download take all of my photos off my phone, and I've had to take any app that I don't use every day off my phone.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not like trying to like. It's not gonna make me any money really. It's just like this personal goal I have to get there. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years, and it's just like I really want to just meet this benchmark. I just want to meet this goal. It's a competitive thing for me. I'm really, like I said, I'm maybe going to make 1/10 of a penny off an ad view. It's really not, and who watches the ads? Let's be honest, you're all fast forwarding, skipping them. We all know.
No,
So-
I watch a lot of YouTubes, and I understand that, and I will watch ads. I mean,
Yeah. Well, Ollie was just saying monetization is not that much, just an FYI. They have 41K subs and make less than $100 a month. And they don't even pay out till you get to $100. So like it might take me a long time before I ever get a paycheck from them. It's just I just want to meet the benchmark. I just want to say I did it. I just want to be there. If that makes any sense. Yes. Once you're monetized, then you can get super chats. You can have membership. You can actually talk to a person at YouTube, which is be kind of nice. So so many things that open up when you get to that point that I don't have as a small YouTube channel. So that's kind of why I want to do it.
Yeah.
Does this StreamYard count as YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's 20 people in here. I think we've been averaging this whole stream 20 people for an hour. So it should transfer into at least 20 hours for me out of that off that 240. So that's why I've been trying to do 2 lives at minimum a week to help me get there faster. Brad, I'm on Odyssey, and that does take crypto donation. So the exact same videos that are posted here get posted on Odyssey, and then Odyssey will allow people to donate to me with crypto cash. So I don't know how that works because I've never qualified. I've only made 37 cents there, but it's a lot more than I've made on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
And they also do not delete my videos. They're on there forever. It's just a little bit different. It's a much more free speech platform. Mm-hmm. And so I've just kind of experimented with it. Yes, I do have Instagram. I'm not monetized on Instagram. I am not monetized on Facebook either. The Facebook group I have 100,000 plus members, and I just do that because I really love to teach people how to can. Everybody needs to learn how to do it. There's never in the history of my lifetime, in the last 54 years, there has never been a time where canning was more important, and food preservation and gardening has never been more important than it is right now. And I really hope to teach a lot of young people how to do that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been working on. I'm trying to tell a whole bunch of friends how to do it. And my friend Steve is watching. I just want to shout out to him real quick. I texted him, like, hey, hop on real quick. So he's now listening to my voice going, oh my God. He's really talking. But there's a lot to the monetization. You need a lot of people. Once you get massive amounts of subscribers, some of these channels make thousands a month. But those are the ones that have been on forever, and they have followers everywhere. And I follow a bunch of channels, and I make it a point to watch the commercial because I know they're going to get the money from it. If you hit skip ad, sometimes I don't know if they get the money or not if you hit skip. So some of them I just let them play through. I'll go grab a beer.
That's you. I try to let the ads play, and then I go. That's when I take my breaks and go get a pop, a coffee, something.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ollie. I'm really glad. I'm glad to see that people who are, Ollie the monkey says they're only 30 and they're a young generation canner, and I really appreciate that. Hearing that because I really, 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 want to pass these skills on to people who can then pass them on to the next generation. That's the only way we're going to keep this alive because there are some things you can do. I am not a big book learner. I like to have a hands-on, and so even though we're talking about it and we can kind of communicate on Facebook, this platform I really thought gave me a chance to teach people that are more hands-on learners like me, and so that's why
I'm a very hands-on learner, so I like watching people do it when they
Caitlin, I mean, you can start out with just a cupboard in your kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can cool your jars on your table, your kitchen table overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help you out with the active cat thing. I left for a few minutes and I came back and all 3 of Becca's cats were sleeping on my bed. They've all claimed me. I'm the lady with.
You can put jars to cool in your oven if the oven's off and nice and cool.
Yes,
leave
if
the
you
doors
if your
cracked.
oven is off and you're not using your oven, you could put them right on a cookie sheet in your oven where it's cool and not turned on, and let them leave the door open a crack and let them cool in there, and that would keep them away
Great
from
idea, Mark.
Very good idea, Mark.
And the
Yeah.
and the cat won't knock them off the table and destroy the world.
Yeah. Oh, that cats do. They cats behave like cats. Oh,
So
thank you. I'm so glad you found our channel, Freezer Bound. And
Hello, Freezer Bound.
what about
Please.
long term? I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead.
Storage. I mean, I don't have a root cellar. I don't have any place, and I live in Florida, so it's not like I'm going to keep it at 50 degrees anywhere.
I turned my linen closet in my hallway, my hall linen closet, into a pantry because it was in the center of my house and it was cooler and dry, and it already had shelves in there. And so I just turned that into a pantry. If you have a closet in your house that you're not using, that you could move things around, you could just start with a closet.
Some people have even stored them in like under bed coat. You can pull out. I've seen that before too.
The house doesn't usually get because the air runs 24/7. Doesn't usually get above 70, 72. That's still okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So look at it this way, Kelly. If you ran to the store and bought a jar of a glass jar of pickles, and you brought it home and left it on the counter or in your closet, in your pantry, in one of your cabinets over your sink, you're good for a couple years or a year anyway. It's fine. You just don't want the temperature to get up at the 90s all the time and leave it in the sunlight.
Yeah.
So once you can it, if you're canning food for storage, but you don't want to can food for 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 years of storage. Like, oh, I'm going to save this and eat when I'm desperate. No, you can food when you find it on sale, or if you're growing your own, you can and you store it and you eat it until the next season pops around. That's what canning was originally for. And we don't want to just can food. Unfortunately, I have some foods that I canned. Probably now I'm going on 5 years, and I'm starting to throw things out. And now my front room is now full of empty jars. So I'm waiting for my garden to start popping. And I got room on the shelves downstairs, but I got lots of specific items. My wife and I came up with, she has a recipe for Spanish black beans that she grew up with. And we modified so it works in the canner. So it finishes cooking in the canner. And some of those are 2, 3 years old, and they're fine. And but I'll make like 40 to 60 pints. And we'll eat those over the course of, and when it gets down to like the last pint or two, she starts freaking out. Oh my God, we need to make beans again. Yep, we do. No problem, honey. Let me go open one of my Mylar bags of black beans, and we'll make black beans. And I'll get all your Spanish ingredients, and we do it. And I'm the canner. She is the thought process. She wants to do something long term. We'll figure it out. And you go by with the times in the canner and the pressure canner. You go by the worst case ingredient. If there's meat in it, you use meat times. If it's only beans, you're gonna have to try to figure that one out. Use a baked bean recipe for canning. If you're making just beans, our beans have some small amount of pork in it, so I use meat time, and we adjust our cooking of the beans beforehand for that. So that way they're not overcooked and turn to mush. They're still beans, but they're soft. And I mean, it's a game. I mean, you got to do a lot of experimentation. We did. And I make French onion soup. I'll go buy a 50-pound bag of onions, cut them up, and I'll do small batches in my cast iron pot, and the wine and everything, and beef broth. And either mine or I bought it. And I'll can French onion soup, but I'll can it at meat time in the pressure canner. I'll make quarts of it. So I got French onion soup. It's great. I mean, it's gravy. It's whatever you want. It's soup. We use it in pot roast in the crock pot. And I mean, there's so many things you can do, but you don't want to store food forever. It's just not a not a
I'm
good
on
thing.
a two-year plan here because that's the way plants grow. A lot of plants, you have a good harvest and then a bad harvest. So they'll have a really good year and then they'll have a not so good year. So I always want a 2-year supply to get me through to the next good year. So, but I didn't start out with that. I started out with a 6-month supply, and then
That's a good idea.
kind of built myself up to a 1-year supply, and now my ideal is to have a 2-year supply, and that's just of certain things that I know. Like here we have apples. You have a really good harvest year, and then you have a really bad year, and that's normal for the trees. And so that's just what I do.
That makes sense. My pears were the same way. Last year was a really good year, so I did some extra canning of pears. So.
And then next year you probably won't have extra to can. You'll just probably have just a good crop to eat.
Well, I'm not there anymore, so it doesn't matter.
The people that are there now will have pears to eat, but they're not going to be canning off that tree next year. Next year, they're going to be like, wow, this tree is fabulous.
So I was thankful for the big harvest year. Yeah.
That worked out perfect for you with your move.
Mm-hmm.
What are you planning on planting for? Are you going to do an orchard there?
Yes, of course. I want pears. I want cherries. I want apples, of course, and haven't figured out the rest. Plums, probably. Peaches. We grow out here, so peaches.
Yeah, you can do better for peaches than I can. I'm a little jealous. You're far enough south. Your peaches will do pretty.
Where are you, Laura?
Tennessee.
Okay.
Central Tennessee.
I've not been able to get in the garden. I am disabled, and my husband will only do as much as he'll do, but he doesn't mind watering trees. So I've put in, fruit. Fruit is mostly what I've got. So I want to be able to do things with that. My current project is cleaning out the freezer and getting meats canned, so that when I find it on sale, like butter, I put 40 pounds of it in there.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what we do. We try to buy it when it's on sale, because I know the next sale isn't going to come around from, like on butter. It comes out November, December. I better buy it then. And the next time it's going to be on sale is Easter.
Mm-hmm.
So then whatever I've used, I buy back up to get me through till Christmas.
Do you can ghee?
I do can ghee. And
Hey, so my buddy Steve just posted. He's like, I'm still waiting for your Spanish beans. Yes, Steve, I'll bring you your beans. I know. He loves them. I make blueberry jam, and he loves all that. And I got to get back up to New York to bring him some stuff. But ghee with butter right now, like Lidl down by me, in Maryland, butter it's still $1.79 a pound.
Nice.
What?
I literally went out and bought, and I told a bunch of people about it. I bought 20 pounds of salted, 20 pounds of unsalted. My wife thought I lost my mind. And my daughter was like, oh, great, I love ghee, because, for a jar of like a 14 fluid ounce jar of ghee, it's like $9.
Oh, no, I went to World Market on, what day did we go to Lansing? Tuesday. I went to World Market. It was $12 for a 10 ounce jar of ghee.
Yeah, and it's just clarified butter. So I came home, opened all these things up, threw them in a giant pot. Of course, it can make a mess because it starts popping and splattering. So I kind of modified the way I do it. After it all melts and I know all the milk solids are in the bottom, I'll ladle it out into another pot. And I'll leave the butter solids, the milk solids at the bottom with whatever fat's left on top. I'll let that cook down, and it'll give you a little nutty flavor to it. And but it doesn't splatter as bad. You just have to use a really tall pot.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, no, I heat up to make sure it's all clarified. And I just pour it into jars. And at first, the first bunch, I threw them in a water bath for the heck of it. I'm like, wait a minute, it's fat. It's hot. It's not going to die. It's butter. And no, I think I got like out of 20 pounds of butter, I think I got like 18 pints of ghee. So I didn't lose that much to the milk fat solids.
No.
And that stuff's forever. I just go downstairs and grab a jar and I keep it in the fridge. And
I think it's something like 10 years is the life of ghee,
It's
just
so
without
great.
water bathing it, just putting it in a jar. It's 10 years.
yeah, I did that, and I give my couple my daughters will grab some, and they'll take it to their places, and I'm like, yeah, take it. I don't mind. I'll just go get more because currently I was in Lidl the other day, and it's still $1.79 a pound. I'm like,
Wow.
I'm gonna go buy another
That's-
40 pounds and just.
That's incredible. I would do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that milk solids
I
are
might try
really
that
yummy
one.
too.
And there is a difference in flavor between salted and unsalted. Haven't really figured it out yet, but it's just a slight difference in flavor. But I don't care.
The salt doesn't boil out, so it concentrates and makes it more salty.
Right, and which is fine. I mean, I use it in a pan to make eggs or something like that, and you don't need near as much as you do butter, and it doesn't burn. It has a higher smoke
It
point.
has a very high smoke point.
You can almost deep fry it and stuff. Not that I could, although that actually could be pretty good.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. That would be interesting to have that as a deep fried food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Middle Eastern, Caitlin, you're right. The Middle Eastern stores, it's a very popular Middle Eastern item for cooking, and it is a lot cheaper there. But again, I have to drive 4 hours. By then, the price of gas, it just wouldn't make it effective for me to drive there.
Especially right now.
When I can buy the butter and make it for myself for less than a quarter of what a jar of ghee is at the store here.
Hey.
Mark, do you use your ghee on toast or just in cooking? I just use mine in cooking. I don't like it on toast.
I've used it on toast only because I was like, oh, let me try it. It's like really strong butter, and it soaks into the toast really quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bad. I mean, you'd be better off making French toast.
You can mix it. You can mix it with a little garlic and dip bread in it. But, like fresh homemade bread. But
yep. Hey, I think it was Kelly that was talking about. She can't get to the garden. That sucks. I pray for that. So I watched a bunch of YouTube videos the other night. I'm like, let me look at seeds and how they plant it. And somebody said seed tape. So I looked up seed tape, and I'm like, okay, you can buy this biodegradable paper with seeds already in it. And then I found channels that are like, no, make your own. And I did it. And oh my God, I used toilet paper. We all know we have a lot of toilet paper laying around right now. So I did 5 squares, and I used a spray bottle and just dampened half of it, like one side of it, one long length of the half. And then I put my bunching onions. I put a seed down like every inch, and then I fold the toilet paper over and just push it down with my hand so it soaks in and both sides get wet, and the toilet paper sticks together. Now, as soon as the weather breaks, which is I did it for the first time, I'm excited. And now all I have to do is go out in the garden and just scrape out, a quarter-inch of dirt, lay the little toilet paper down with a bunch of onions, sprinkle some dirt on top and water it. Toilet paper goes away, and you have evenly spaced stuff. So that's something you can do.
Carrots is a good one to do that on.
That just at the table. You just need a wet toothpick and a little thing of water to touch a toothpick in, the spray bottle, some toilet paper, and your seeds. And I'm like, I am so looking forward to this. I'm like, oh, if this works, I'm going to be sitting around with rolls of toilet paper surrounding me, just making seed tape everywhere.
Robert Homestead Aquarius says, I hear so much about ghee lately. It must be special. Why is it so sought after? It is sought after because all of us off-grid people like things that we can put on our shelves and not refrigerate. And ghee is shelf-stable form of butter. And it's also
Yummy.
the cooking temperature makes it really good for frying foods. So it has a really hot, it doesn't burn as fast as regular butter. So you can cook things at a higher temperature with it. Did I say that right, Mark? I think I did.
Oh yeah, that you're on a roll there, Tammy. You're good. Yeah, I mean, ghee has been around for centuries because this is how people in India and that they didn't have refrigeration. That when they milked
Still
their
don't.
cow and made butter, they heated the butter after they made the butter, which is a process in itself. They heated it to separate the fat from the whey, and then they put the fat itself. No way, the fat itself just went into crop. And if you put it on the shelf, it would depends on how long you cook it for, the nutty flavored it gets. It would either be hard or soft at room temperature, and it would last years. And that's why ghee's been around, and it's great. I mean, it's very prolific in Middle Eastern countries because that's how they preserve that. And there was no canners, there was no All Americans, there were no jars. It was just blocks, like everyone was making kimchi, and that's how you do it. And that's why it's sought after because the modern people of today. I'm not going to go down any rabbit holes here. They see it, hear about it, like it, and want it, but don't understand how to make it themselves. So they just buy it, and that's why it's so expensive in the store because it's not difficult to make, and it's not difficult to process, but because the demand is there for certain groups of people that just don't have the ability to do it themselves, they're willing to buy it. So that's why a 10-ounce jar is like $7.99.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I made a 16-ounce jar for under $2.
If you put the same two jars side by side, and one you said ghee, Middle Eastern delicacy, and the other one you said clarified butter, and you priced them the same, they're going to pick up the Middle Eastern delicacy and leave the clarified butter.
Yeah, because of the label.
It's all in the labeling. It's all in the commercialism of it.
Yep.
That's all it is.
As canners, we know where we are. We try to help everybody else get to that point. Some people, you just can't reach.
Yeah.
To quote a movie.
It's true. Anyway. Well, they see it as such a big thing to do because it takes a lot of time at one time. But there's so much stuff that I've canned. Like right now, when we go to our tiny home on the property, I can just grab something off the shelf and I've got a meal, you know, and that's saving time. You know, that took me a little while to make, but you know.
Yeah, but you made 7 meals at a time. If your canner only held 7 jars, you still cooked 7 meals all at once. You really saved 6 times the work.
Right.
I think
and my husband and I, we like to take the leftovers from our meals and can those, and it's
Yeah, we. I don't know if you were in here quite when we talked about canning rice, and if I make like a soup and I put rice in it and I have leftovers, I will can it. I don't deliberately can something with rice in it. If I'm making it to can, I leave the rice out. But yeah, I love to can leftovers. I actually plan when I make chili, I take out before my planned leftovers to can because it's just as easy to make a great big pot of chili as it is to make a small pot of chili.
Right.
There's no.
Well, my husband naturally does it, so. My husband always does that because he just cans big pots of stuff all the time. So, yeah.
I grew up. I mean, I went to culinary school. I was a chef. My wife and I we were both in the food service industry back in the day, and we still cook in volume. And we talk about it like we can't cook for 2 people. We just don't. So we just make these giant pots of soup and giant pots of everything, and we put it in the fridge. And I'll make it a point to just eat it throughout the week because some things I'm like, I'm not going to can this. I just got to eat it. Most of the time when we can, we will plan it out. Okay, what do you want to make? What do you want to do? We'll put everything out. and she'll help me with the recipes and stuff for her modifications, and I'll help with the times and that of what we need to do, and we'll just make a giant pot. I mean, I got this really large stainless pot. We can make a really big pot of food, and it gets canned. That is just for canning. We might eat some that night, but most of it, no, I make it for canning. I've never really canned leftovers because there is a time constraint on food from a food safety standpoint. 4 hours in what they call the danger zone is your max. So, like, you go to Cracker Barrel, or not Cracker Barrel, like Golden Corral, one of the big buffet restaurants. They'll have food out, but there's timestamps on it. If it's out for more, as soon as it hits 4 hours, they pull it and throw it out because bacteria grows between, I forget, it's like 45 and 119 or 120 some odd degrees. So, and it's real prolific at that temperature, but that's the temperature you hold it at, is like around 120. So if you made food and it sat on the counter to cool off for like 2 hours, and then you put it in the fridge and it still had to cool off, especially soup, if you didn't stir it or stew, the middle of it's still hot. And then it's like, you can can it, but if the bacteria started to grow, you may have killed the bacteria. But what the bacteria does when it grows is it gives off basically it's excrement, it's waste as it eats stuff. So that's what really makes you sick. It's not the bacteria itself, it's what it gives off, the toxins that it gives off.
Right.
You can cook it, it's still there. So if you can something like, I've had this pot of soup in the fridge for 3 days now, let me just can it up.
No, what I do is I usually leave the burner on low. We have our meal, and then I'll can it.
Usually I plan my leftovers, and I'm actually canning them while we're sitting at the table eating our food. So if I'm making chili, I will actually portion out the jars, and then so I know I've made enough to can a batch, and then we eat the leftover. That that's already on the stove going while we're sitting at the stove eating our chili. Everything else gets refrigerated that isn't served up right then. It's just a timing thing with me. So, yeah, I'm I don't know. I grew up with a mom who went through the Depression, so I didn't really grow up with the food safety regulations of like cooking. But now I cook in a public place for people, so I have had to learn all of those regulations. I know what color cutting board is for what, and all of those things. And so, I'm immediately refrigerating things and doing things a lot different than the way I was taught as I was growing up. My mom didn't throw away anything but the squeak and the hooves, and I'm not so sure about the squeak.
Hey, in the comments, Vintage Gal asked a question that didn't get posted, but I'm reading it on my other computer. Would you rather can leftovers or vacuum seal leftovers? Hi, I'm new here. Well, welcome aboard, Vintage Gal. So canning leftovers, like I said, you probably heard me a minute ago if you're listening, that it depends on how long it's been in the fridge for, how long it's cooked. Vacuum sealing's fine, but as another minor scientific note, when something is frozen, it doesn't stop everything. So if you vacuum seal like a steak, as soon as you buy it, it's fresh. You just cut it. It was still warm off the hoof. You vacuum seal, you throw it in the freezer. There's like this very little air in there. You're only good for about 2 years because food will still deteriorate in the freezer, albeit at an extremely slow rate. Unless you can get your stuff down to absolute zero, which is not 0 Fahrenheit, it's negative 360 degrees Fahrenheit, like submerge it in liquid hydrogen. No.
So it'll just break in half.
Exactly. It'll shatter when you
touch it, it shatters.
Yeah.
So, but no.
So does your finger.
You can seal meal your leftovers. That's fine. Throw them in the freezer, but eat them within a reasonable time. Don't seal a meal and say, I'll get to it, and then forget about it 2 years later, decide it's going to be good, because the flavor might be okay, but your nutritional value is definitely gone.
Yeah.
And bacteria will grow over a slower period if it wasn't treated properly, if it was out too long. There's so much science behind food, and a lot of people don't really understand it. It's
Exactly.
difficult to try to convey all this stuff. I mean, I went to school for this stuff. I got to do training all the time with the job I have, the company I work for. I'm not going to say who. I'm not allowed to. And but it's all basically Serve Safe certification. I have to get that every 4 years, and I learn a lot every time I retake the class. I've been doing this for a long time, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that the average consumer just doesn't quite understand, which is why people get sick. And the answer is always, oh, it must be something I ate. Well, yeah, it was something you ate because you didn't store it properly. That's why you're in the bathroom now. Sorry. But anyway, okay. Hey, I love doing this. This is why I came on, Tammy. I'm so glad you let me on.
I am just so excited that we reconnected, Mark. You have a knowledge base that I don't necessarily have. I mean, I have it, but I can't call it up because I'm not being reviewed it constantly like you are. And I just really am so excited that we've reconnected. Thank you so much for coming on.
This is one of the 5 streams I've actually been, together on with anybody ever. And I've been on YouTube. I've had my own YouTube channel. I actually took my videos off because they're old and dumb. And I was like, yeah, I don't need anybody to see my face and stuff like that. So, but I've been on YouTube for probably 12 years. And Facebook, I took myself off Facebook. That's for other reasons.
I miss you. And then I dropped my phone, so I had no way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, whatever. I
lost every contact I had. Apparently, during the great thing that happened in the last 2 years, when you drop your phone, I went to the place that I bought it from and had my service through, and I knocked on the door, and they're pointing to the sign, you have to call to get help. I'm like, if I could call you, I wouldn't need help to replace my phone. I mean, that's why I'm here. I don't have a way to call you. We're all keeping socially distanced. No one is handing me their phone. I'm a single person with one phone. And so they could help me get a new phone, but they would not transfer all my contacts or all my information to my new phone. So I had to start totally fresh, and I lost everything.
Yeah, no, I'll right now. Because I'm on 3 devices. I actually have my one computer screen open, but the mute's on, and it's delayed. Yeah, I'm talking to you on my iPad, but I'm on my iPhone at the same time. So, but I'm gonna email you my phone number because I know we had each other before.
Dig says likely excuses. I'm like, oh no. No, Mark knows how much I need him. He is much more tech savvy than me, and we had a lot of fun. He doesn't like to take credit for things, so then he would send me. He would stir the pot, and I was the spoon.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like here, post this one because I don't want to post this. I don't want to get in trouble.
I don't want to post this in my name. You're the admin. You post it. You take the blame. But it's really funny, so let's post it.
What was it like? It was like 8-9 months ago. I'm sending you messages going, would you please tell your newest admin to let me post? What the heck is going on here? But I know YouTube changed their rules and that. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. So you can't post certain words and things. You can't talk about certain things without getting I'm like, yeah. I'm done.
The thing is, when I get a bad mark from that social platform, and they send me a thing. This member in your group posted this. We removed it for your safety. And then you go to look at it to see what they did that was so wrong, and it won't show it to you because they're protecting you from you.
Right.
I can't even tell somebody what they did wrong because they won't even tell me what they did wrong that wasn't even wrong. You have
to look at what they posted.
No, it's gone. It's wiped out, and then I can't even look at it.
So it's like okay, I went out hunting and I used a particular device to remove a particular animal from this earth that has 3 letters in its name, and I cooked it. And that word alone, because it fits some narrative, that immediately gets flagged, and boom, you're done.
You cannot use the gardening tool implement that you clear
Yes.
weeds from your garden from.
Exactly.
If you use that
Just like-
word on
like-
that social media platform, you get you are bullying
Yeah,
the gardening device.
it's my favorite card when I play poker. Yes, that one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
That's crazy, Tammy.
and I'm a canning group where we talk about adipose tissue, and I cannot use the 3-letter word for that because I'm bullying the meat.
Yes, or something. Yeah, you know what? That's why I left.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anybody on it. Now, don't get me wrong. The feed was starting to get old after a while, when nobody wanted to click on the actual post and read the comments. They just kept asking the same question over and over. 48 comments later, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? Meanwhile, there's like 25 people responded. I'm like, I'm done.
That's fine.
I'm done responding because y'all don't want to read. You all want instant gratification. You are in charge now. You're the star of the show. You want to ask a question. You want the answer directly to you. You want everything for you. You're not willing to do any research, which is the way society seems.
You won't even search in the group. It could be posted 4 times that day, and they won't even search to, has anybody else ever whatever, and they don't search in the group. I have another question that's been hanging down here I want to answer. Walking on Stars. Hi. Thank you for coming in. Has anyone canned sunchokes? You do sunchokes just like you do potatoes. So you have to peel them, and then you can slice them, cube them, chunk them, crinkle cut them, potato chip them, however you want to serve them. Just do a little bit thicker because they are high in like a starch kind of thing, and then you can can them just like you do for the same time, pressure, everything, just like potatoes. And then when you take them out, be sure to really rinse them really good and get that stuff out because they can make you very gassy. So you want to rinse it and not use that water, just like you would with beans. You want to use a good rinse on them. I hope that helps. I am, for the first time, growing sunchokes. I'm hoping to get enough to can. Last year, I planted sunchokes, and the rabbits went behind me 2 days later and dug every single sunchoke root out and ate it. So this year, I'm starting them indoors, seeing if I have a little more success. Darn rabbits!
Crazy, yeah. I've only seen one rabbit on my property, but there's lots of coyotes. So.
I got lots of rabbits. Hey, here's a fun trick for when you plant seeds and the birds are watching and they go in and take your seeds out. So get a bunch of little pebbles and paint them red.
Oh.
And I'm like a whole bunch. Just go grab a handful of gravel from one of the local. I don't know. I'm not going to say a particular store name, but they use it in their landscape. But just grab a handful and stick it in your pocket. Take it home, wash it off, dry it off, throw them on a paper towel outside, spray paint them red, shake them around, paint them red again, and sprinkle them around the garden when you plant your seeds. The birds see red, they come down, they peck at a rock, realize it's a rock and not edible, and they leave. And they don't take your seeds. So I've lost so many seeds. Some seeds come with the coating on it, and it's like a reddish color. I buried all my what were they? The little snow pea pups. And I buried all them. I went out there 2 days later, and there were just holes everywhere. I'm like, where are my seeds? Nothing grew. Birds took them. They saw me do it. So I sprinkled down some red pebbles everywhere and didn't plant the seeds. They came down and pecked at the rocks. I could tell they were moved and were footprints everywhere. And they left. And then I planted my seeds and left the rocks there. And they didn't touch my seeds. I was like, this is great. I like this idea. That was some other YouTube channel taught me that. I learned so much on YouTube. It's frightening.
Me too.
You'll have to see my video digs from last year. It says, do you make Hassenpfeffer with that, Tammy? No, I actually had the Easter bunny, the one that ate my sunchokes. in my fence and I released him, I don't have the heart to do that. I have hard to keep him around because he plants fertilizer all over in my food forest. I just put up
Yeah.
little tree skirts around my trees, and now I'll put a tree skirt around this patch where I do the sunchokes. I just keep him out of where I don't want him. So we cohabitate quite well. I plant a little extra for him in the edges.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
some,
what do
that's-
you do for squirrels then? Because I had a huge squirrel problem. Not
I go out to a place I know that has huge black walnuts, and I dump black walnuts in my driveway, and I leave them there for the squirrels so that they leave my other stuff alone. And then they go out in my food forest and plant black walnuts, and I keep them where I want them, and I pull the trees out where I don't, and they eat the majority of them. I've only had one really good black walnut tree come up.
that's a good idea. I like that.
Yep. A little for them, a little for me. And, if they plant a few black walnut trees around on my neighbors that come up in the woods, in the big, deep, dark woods across the street from me, there's more reason for them to be over there when those mature than in my yard. So by the time my
Yeah.
food forest matures, they will have planted their own food forest around it, and I won't have to deal with them as
I
much.
don't think I'll have a problem because I have enough acorn trees on the property here, but yeah.
You got lots of little oak trees growing everywhere.
Yeah.
That's how all my friends. If I won't shoot a rabbit, I don't hunt. I can. I understand how to process and all that. I mean, I went to school for it, and but I don't do it actively. But when it comes, if it ever becomes time, yes, those rabbits running around my property are dinner.
Yeah.
Period.
And I figure, I know how to do all that. I have the means, I have the knowledge, but I don't need to do that. So I'd rather they feel comfortable on my property so that someday if I do need them, they're there and not on my neighbors.
Yeah, they're kind of gamey though, the wild.
They are.
That's what time of year you get them. That much I know. So, rabbits, early spring, not a lot of fat left on them because they burned it up over the winter time and they're very calm. Late summertime, yeah, they're a little gamey because they're jumping around and breeding and doing all their things, just like deer. I mean, you have friends who hunt venison, hunt deer, and every now and then they'll give you a steak and or a roast and you eat it. It's like, wow, this tastes really gamey. And you find out that it wasn't it wasn't a quick dispatch. So the deer actually, the adrenaline started pumping and they started running and they had to chase. You hear them talk. I had to chase this thing for 2 miles before I got it. Oh, great. I don't want that steak. I don't want that roast because the adrenaline's so high, the flavor gets really strong.
Yeah.
And
That's
I got a bunch
same
of
with a lot of
they'll do stuff.
It's the same with a lot of the animals they take down south, the wild boar, and they're all like, "Oh, it's got boar taint and it's gamey." No, it's also how you dispatch it humanely or not. That
Yep.
Yeah,
makes a
same
difference.
with chicken or anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
if you dispatch it right and get all that blood out of there quickly, it's a healthier or tastes better. So
Extreme Adventures, Crystal. Anytime you need to ask questions. Sorry I had to go live, so I handed the phone to Becca, and she's been consulting with me and making sure that she's answering. So if you go back and watch this live, you'll see me telling her no, this, that, and it corresponds with our chat.
Hey, maybe next live stream I'll bring out and I'll bring out one of my 3-year-old jars of milk. I'm like, yeah, and I use it. I mean, when I have to go away and I know I may not get creamer for my coffee, I'll bring a jar of milk. I open it up now. The fat that accumulated in the top of the rim is really thick, and it does not come off. You can't shake it back in. And but in your coffee, it tastes like you took milk and put it on the stove and got it warm, and it changes that odor and the flavor when you're making cocoa. But that's what it tastes like. But it's cold. And I'll throw it in the fridge just because I like it cold. I could probably eat it with cereal, but canned milk, I think you guys turned me onto that way back when. I'm like, let me try this. I did whole milk and 2% milk, and back when I first saw it, and I probably only used 4 pints, and I got a gallon of each. I did it, and it came out good. I'm like, great, on the shelf. Now, whether it still tastes okay, that's another story. I'll find that out.
I have it now. Yeah, I have a batch that I've been opening one a year, and it's now 7 years old. Just because I wanted to see how long it would really keep for me, and make sure that when I'm telling people, I'm telling them something I've actually done myself. So I have a batch that's 7 years old that I open once a year, and I did that batch that I've done is just so I can say, because when we did it with my mom, we only did it for a year. So people are like, how long can you keep it? So I'm like, well, I'm not really sure because I haven't done it for anything more than a year. So now I'm testing that. Dig says, that's ingenious. Make the squirrels work for you. I also have done that with hickory nuts, and I put my bird feeders in my permaculture food forest where I want the birds to plant their seeds that they've eaten and things. They can plant mulberries for me. There's all sorts of things. So I put my bird feeders along my fence row, so when the birds sit there and they plant all those shrubby, bushy things, and then I go in and see what's coming up and growing, move my bird feeder, and I see what's growing up in there, and if there's some good raspberries or blackberries or things that they drop, mulberries, I'm gonna recognize those plants and transplant them. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm making them do the hard work and have them help in the food forest.
Nice.
If they're gonna eat it, they have to help grow it.
Nature has an amazing way of doing its own thing.
It does.
How do you think all the trees and bushes got there? All those raspberry bushes along the roadside in certain areas. Like, how'd they get there? They just
all the
grew.
asparagus in your ditch beds were once seeds that the birds ate over the winter, and then a lot of these seeds evolved where they need to go through the digestive system of the bird in order for them to be viable when they're planted. So why not make the bird do the work for you in the garden and put the bird feeder where you want the birds to start putting things and growing the kind of things that will come from that. And that's what I do. I just move my bird feeder.
So how many mulberry trees you want?
All I can get.
30.
Right now I have one that I planted, and I'm hoping it's a white. This year it should produce for me. I got the seed off my white one. I scattered it on the ground out there. I let the birds right on top of the ground so the birds could do whatever. I got one tree out of it. I have another one, I think, that is a black.
I had a purple or a black one. I had a white one. I cut the purple one down because it was encroaching on the house a little too bad. I cut it totally down, but I had to get rid of it because the birds eat it, and then they fly over to my wife's car and leave a present. And yeah, purple bird poop all over the windshield and top of the roof, and I'm usually on the mirror, the outside mirror. I was just like, why is there so much bird poop here? I'm like, they like to look at themselves while they're taking a dump. I don't know. But yeah, I had more. I'm like, you know what? We're done. I'm done with the mulberries. I like them, but they only grow for a certain very short period. When I grew up, my friend's father made mulberry wine. It was great. He had like 8 or 10 mulberry trees in the backyard, and we'd go out there. He'd spread the sheets down. We'd get the big giant wooden hammer and just beat the side of the tree. He'd wrap it up with burlap, beat the tree when they're about to fall, and we would just pick up these giant sheets, which were purple from years of use, and roll them out and bring them into the house, and he'd pour them into his 5-gallon buckets, crush them up. And he made mulberry wine for like 20 years. And It was good. I mean, it's good stuff. A little sweet, but it was good. And but I'm like, yeah, I might put a mulberry tree, but they're so prolific. The birds eat them and poop them everywhere, and you wind up with mulberry trees. For me, they're a weed. They're just annoying. So
I had neighbors that liked to park in front of my house because they didn't want to take up the parking spots in front of their house. And I planted a mulberry tree right between the sidewalk and the road for that reason.
Good idea.
That's good unknown vengeance. They have no
I
idea
wanted to be able to look out in my yard, out my front window, and see my kid playing across the street with his friend. I don't think that was an unreasonable thought on my part.
No, it
To
wasn't.
be able to have my guests park in front of my house. I mean, we both had huge, fronts to park in, and they would leave their driveway and their front of their house empty and literally park in front of my house so I couldn't look out my windows and have a view of anything besides their truck, which was diesel, and they would warm up for an hour in the morning outside of my bedroom window at 5:30 in the morning, because everybody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a little passive aggressive, I must admit, just a little, maybe just a little.
No, not you. I'm the little kid standing behind the corner of the barn that throws
Where was he
the
when you
bee's
did
nest over the
that?
picnic, but I don't get stung. Yeah.
I dropped my phone. That's why I couldn't get a hold of him. I told you I needed a meme.
I became a walking meme. I had blue hair. When we moved her out of there, I had blue hair, so they all knew me in the neighborhood because it was bright.
For us, it grew.
Yes.
I'll actually email. You want blue hair? Yeah, tell Tammy to check her email here. I'll send you a picture of me with blue hair. You will not stop.
Hey, Mark.
Puke. What?
I got the phone though.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to scroll through her 8 million emails to find mine.
See, he knows how many I get.
Hey, you know what? I already found your phone number.
Sweet.
Just saying.
There you go. Okay, so hold on a second. I'll send you a picture.
Like the kid at the Home Alone.
Right?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm going to go on mute. Give me a second. I'll send it to you. I just want to watch your daughter laugh. And I want to watch Tammy laugh because she's going to cry and pee herself. So hold on.
I have an old lady bladder. That's not saying much.
Bathroom's next door.
Shoo. Laura, did you see Nature Girl's comment?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
If you guys have not went over and checked out Hedgehog's Homestead, they are building. They've moved across the country. They're building. They've got a tractor for the first time. Mabel is exciting. Let's be honest. Mabel's exciting. Chris is right about Mabel. I like Mabel. And they even had a fire truck stuck in their yard the other day in the middle of nowhere. Things happen. So you got to watch and see what's going to happen next.
Exciting stuff is happening, yes. Yes, we're starting a whole brand new homestead from scratch. So
no, butter and milk are a little bit different. So you wouldn't want to do them in the same can or load. You pressure can, it's a little bit different. I'll talk to you later, Crystal. We'll talk.
I already showed her that you messaged her and told her she needed to answer you.
Yep. I do not have a red mulberry, but I am looking for one. So if you have any leads on a red mulberry and you're collecting seeds somewhere, Homestead Aquarius, in a legal manner, I can always send you my address for red mulberry. I have black and I have, I think, white. It's hard to tell because the white, I think, is a recessive gene. So, I wanted the white because the birds don't eat the white mulberries. I can get to them before the birds do. I planted the black for the birds. The white is sweeter, and I planted it for me. So we'll see. 50-50. One for the birds, one for me.
Now that's the permaculture way.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wish I could grow. You guys are down south. You can grow the really long Pakistani mulberries that I can't. So your mulberries can be like 3 inches long, and mine are only these little tiny nubbins that are like itty bitty.
I've never had mulberries, so that would be awesome to try.
Do you like blackberries? Then you would probably like mulberries.
Cool. Is the bush have any thorns or anything?
No. No,
Cool.
it's just a small, and it makes a very small tree,
Hmm.
a very quick growing small tree.
Nice.
And then they have a very, very long life for
Cool.
trees. I mean, as far
I'll
as
have
like
to look for
producing life. So you can get, and the thing you want to do is I planted my mulberry above my chicken, but outside, but where it's gonna, half of it will spread over my chicken coop because
Mhm.
they're very high in protein for a fruit. And so they're very good to feed your poultry. So if you could only have one tree to shade your poultry, I would recommend that you get a mulberry to be, and they'll clean up all that mess. So it's a win-win. You know, any that you don't get, that you don't, you know, you're not putting it, like Mark said, you put a sheet down underneath the tree and you shake the tree, and that's how you gather them. So any that fall before that or that fall after you do that collection, it's a nasty mess, and they're taking them all over. The wild birds are, and then they poop purple for weeks. So if you put them underneath your poultry, it's a win-win. It's high protein. You don't have to feed them as much store-bought food, and it's a great permaculture ecosystem in this climate, habitat, hemisphere for
No, I love permaculture. Yeah, that's awesome.
I just planted my first mulberry, and
Did
I
you?
basically did it for the birds. I put it at the other end of our property so that the birds go there and leave my fruit alone.
Yes. Yeah. See, they'll leave the other berries in your small berries, like your raspberries and your blackberries and stuff like that, because they love the mulberries.
So you say it's prolific. Does it reestablish itself in other spots, or just spread
Yes.
out, or?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Everywhere the birds poop, they will grow like weeds.
Okay.
So, we need to talk, Robert. I'm on your team, and maybe if I do a really good job, you might reward me with some red mulberry seeds. We'll talk later. You definitely need, maybe if I get a good production going, then it'd be with a good reward system there.
How
Hey,
about a
Chris
teammate?
Clevercraft, thanks for coming in. And Ariel, thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. I keep missing your lives. I see them that you've done them after I've already.
Yeah, that's hard when you really want to go see somebody.
Yep. And Facebook, YouTube is not giving me my notifications. About an hour to 3 days later, I get notifications that somebody was doing something. It's really getting a little frustrating. Apparently, I'm off the list of needing to know. I'm not on the need to know list. I love comfrey. I have a lot of comfrey. Yes, my rabbits love comfrey. We all love comfrey, and the wild ones have not been able to wipe out the comfrey.
That's good.
And Kathy says she has both. And I agree, it's really hard to find all time to do all the things we need to do. Right now I'm indoors a lot and I'm on YouTube a lot, but come this summer, I don't have internet at my cabin, so I'm going to have to come into town to do my lives and catch up on stuff, or when I bring the kids in for some of their activities, then I'll have internet. But I'm going to be gone a lot, guys. Don't panic. But I'm here a lot now. But come summer, I'm outdoors.
Yeah.
So I'm not inside. So I'm trying to get all my inside stuff done now so I can play outdoors.
Summer's going to be busy.
Okay, Ariel will be live again. CST time. And I believe you're in England, aren't you? So we need to figure that all out. But we'll look. I'll look.
Hey, what time do you do live stuff? 7 p.m.
I always do Thursday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then I do Saturday morning at 11:30.
Okay, I hate you for the Saturday morning. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay.
I'll see if I can get on. So yeah,
People-
you're my
yeah,
phone number now. Just shoot me a text
Okay.
when you're about to go live, so I'll hop on and just shoot me
And
the link.
I can send the link text too, so you have it in advance.
Is it the same link every time? Is it the same link for the?
No, it's different every time.
Okay, yeah, shoot me the link or whatever, and that way I can hop on because I do it on my iPad, and that's what I'm on right now. My phone is one thing, my computer is watching other stuff. So yeah, but I do it on my iPad, so no problem.
We're supposed to be getting one too.
We're supposed to get a winter storm this weekend too.
Yes.
Oh, more snow.
Yay!
I guess my baby Golden Delicious apple tree is not going outside yet. I'm very excited. It has another leaf today. I've literally watched this thing just like Saturday. It actually was like curled up like this, and I actually watched it open its leaves and grow like that high, another inch.
Did you start it from seed?
Yes.
Nice.
I was doing some canning, and it was the strawberry rhubarb pie filling. And I do a low sugar strawberry rhubarb pie filling, so I substitute Golden Delicious apples for half the sugar you would normally use in a pie filling recipe. And when I opened up this Golden Delicious apple, it had 4 seeds that had started to sprout. So I took them right out because they'd been in the refrigerator. They'd done their cold stratification. Took them right out, threw them in some dirt. Only this one continued to grow. And that thing is just like every day you can see it just like growing another half inch.
That's so awesome, Tammy.
It is really. I've been showing the little kids,
like a little miracle.
I know, it's like my baby. I call it, this is my baby. You can look at it, but you can't touch, girls.
Yeah.
And the boys are like, I'm like, boys, don't you even look at it?
Yeah. Because they got bumbly fingers. Yeah.
Yep. And like I said, it may not grow a Golden Delicious apple. It may have been cross-pollinated with a crab apple. It could be anything. But it will at least provide me for apple cider. And it might provide me some crab apples. Might even be a full Golden Delicious. We don't know. In 5 to 7 years, I'll let you know what it's growing. But if I don't like it, I can always graft another apple onto the branch, and I'll have good rootstock that's, go up here. I have roots. I have a little roots.
Yeah, you have root. That's cool. Has anybody ever had a tomato sitting on their counter sprout?
I've seen pictures, but I've never had one do that for me.
I have 3 of them right now. My wife bought them at Lidl, so I'm guessing they got really cold, but they still taste okay. I mean, they're store-bought. And literally, I have like 8 tomato plants popping out of the tomato right now.
Wow.
That's crazy.
The weirdest thing. I'm like, seriously? Now, I've cut into some of their tomatoes, and the seeds are sprouted inside.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I've never seen one actually grow out.
Oh, no. Okay, so I will definitely take a picture and email that.
Yes.
Tell your daughter, sorry. I'm looking for that picture of me with blue hair. It's around. I literally saw it tonight, but I don't know where I saw it, so I'll have to go digging for it. But I'll find it and email it to her. You guys will be like laughing your butts off. And I'll send you a picture of the tomato on my table. Currently, that's sprouting. That's just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm about ready to take it and just, I don't know, cut into some slices. Do like that one page says, oh, cut a tomato in slices and plant it in dirt, and you get tomato plants. Like, yeah, no, that doesn't work. This one will.
Yeah.
I'm like, crap, it's already grown. I already got 20 some odd Romas coming up in my little pots right now. So
Yeah.
I've had tomatoes self-sprout themselves. You know, if I didn't pick a tomato and it just laid on the bottom of, I grow in buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Got tomatoes off them.
Were they sprouting like literally out of the skin of the tomato that's sitting on your counter?
Pardon?
I have these tomatoes. They're whole tomatoes, and like they're sprouting out of the tomato itself. Still hooked on.
No,
it's
they
a
weren't
little buncher.
Are they organic tomatoes?
They must be.
Yeah.
They're growing. So yeah, I'll go with that. I might plant them. I don't know what kind of tomato I'm going to get. More than likely the same little bunching grouping tomato that I got because when these large processing places grow them, they only grow one breed.
Yeah, they grow a field of the same kind.
Yep. So it's rare you're going to get anything oddball. Any tomato plants that pop in my garden this year, all the volunteers, I have no idea. They're going to be a mix of Amish paste, black slice, yellow pear, all these other tomatoes. I have like 7 or 8 different tomato breeds growing, and they're probably all cross pollinated. So I might wind up with like a Amish yellow pear. That would be cool.
That
Yeah.
would be.
Carolyn Lowe, thank you for coming in. Thank you for the love. There was a comment here I was looking for. There it is. Kathy, yes, I live in Michigan too. Welcome.
I love volunteer tomatoes.
Yes, I guess that's what it was called.
Yeah, volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had them come up in my compost, but the tomato had already disintegrated in the compost bin. It didn't hold a shape and be like something I would want to eat from the store. Krista, we will talk. When those mulberries are ripe, let me know. I just need a few ripe ones in something that, like a bag sent to me, and I'll extract the seeds from the goo myself. It's better if they ferment a little bit before you plant them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Kind
They
of like
will
a tomato,
ferment.
you kind of ferment the seeds off of them.
Yeah.
Oh, you have ginkgos? Do you have the ginkgos that do the female ginkgos that do the fruit? It's hard around here to find a female ginkgo. Just all they have are the males.
Oh, I have permission to scalp a red bud tree again.
Good. Good. Yes, we will be foraging because foraging counts. So the red bud tree buds, we will be foraging and making jelly from. I don't know if anybody's ever had red bud. The eastern red bud is a big, beautiful flowering tree. It's used often for ornamentals. It makes the best wild jelly I've ever tasted.
Oh,
Ever.
wow.
And I've tried a lot of wild flower jellies.
And it's funny because my dad's coworker, who's a young kid,
maybe 25.
No,
maybe?
not even. He's like 20, 21.
Okay.
20, 21.
Anyway, he'd be older because he's working.
Right. He inherited a house from his grandpa, and they have a huge redbud tree in the front yard. And she had drove by it like 3 or 4 times, and I drove by it. I didn't think anything of it. She's like, well, that one kid that your dad knows has a tree in his front yard. So I went in and bugged him, and I'm like, can we get some plants off or some buds off your tree? And he's like, yeah, what for? And I'm like, we want to make jam out of it. His wife, he got married after that, and I took them jars of jam, and he was like, this is amazing. So this year I walked in there and I was picking on him, and I was like, so can I hit your tree again this year for buds? And he goes, yeah.
As long as you give me some of the jam.
I love wild food.
Yeah.
And the redbud tree, I had never made it until this year. I read about it, so I wanted to do a video. So we scalped a couple trees, just, what do you call urban foraging, discreetly, just a few various ones around that were on
exciting.
Public,
that's kind of exciting stuff.
Things, guerrilla foraging there in town. And then I'm like, I just don't think I have enough to make a whole batch. And I'm like, do you know the guy that has that tree? She's like, yeah, that's my dad's coworker. So yeah, we made 2 batches, and it was not enough of that jelly.
No.
Oops, I'm sorry. Okay.
Hey, Carolyn.
They keep scrolling faster than I can hit them. So I'm going to have to go back and watch that video Homestead Aquarius made of doing the seeds from mulberry trees.
Somebody asked about canning chili too. Did you see that comment?
No, I missed that one. They're going a little fast all of a sudden here. Or maybe I'm just talking more.
All of them all of a sudden just popped up.
They did. They went boom. Sherry Barnes asked a question. So if you can already cook chili, how long do you pressure can it for? The time doesn't change whether it's cooked or you're making it from scratch raw. It is the same for me as meat time because I put a lot of beans and meat in my chili. So I do 75 minutes for pints 90 minutes for quarts, and I do that at 10 pounds of pressure because that's the pressure for my altitude. So
Yep.
that's what I do. And
Yep, me too.
yes, I'm a real rebel. I don't know where this came from that you can't do beans and hamburger in the same chili. But if that's what you like, you can can it, because I have no
I
idea
made
where they
I
decided.
made pork green chili, and it's got beans in it, and it's delicious.
Mm. Have you ever made white chili with chicken instead of hamburger?
No, I didn't
Oh,
try that.
it's white beans instead of the colored beans, and chicken instead of the hamburger, and it's actually really good.
Mm.
My
The
wife
white
has a
chicken
recipe
chili.
for some kind of a white chili. It's got a packet of the Hidden Valley Ranch powdered dressing in it, and it's
Ooh.
got
Mm.
corn and chickpeas, and it's got so many ingredients, and chicken, and it's great. And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure there's some on the shelf downstairs. I canned it, and I was like, just make it. I'll can it. She's like, okay. So I did. I got 12 or 14 pints out of it. And yeah, she'll pull that out and just throw it in a bowl and heat it up and throw some cheese on it and
Mm.
use a cracker as a spoon, because crackers are spoons, right? And that's the chicken chili is really good. It depends on the recipe you got. So I'll see if I can find a recipe. I'll shoot it off to you there, Tammy.
Diggs, if you had a female ginkgo biloba tree, you would know it, because they stink to high heaven when they fruit. So you probably do have 2 male ginkgo trees. The males are sold as ornamental. It's actually really hard, and they clone them. So it's actually really hard to find a female ginkgo to get the fruits. But the fruits are edible, which is why I want to add that to my food forest, because it's something that grows here. It's something edible, but I haven't
Ginkgo's good for you.
one here.
Yeah.
And I've never tasted it, so no, don't ask me what it tastes like. I just want to have it in my food forest permaculture collection, just to say it grows here and I've done it.
Yes.
Hey, Tammy, I'm gonna hop off. I gotta go say hi to the wife.
Okay, I understand. I'm probably not going to be too much longer. Thank you.
Bye, Mark.
No
Nice
problem.
to meet you.
I love it. Yeah, good to see you again.
Good to
I'll pop back
reconnect.
on Sunday. Shoot me a text. You got my number now. Just shoot me a text on Sunday or whatever day you're doing it. Like, give me like an hour notice. So if I'm around,
It'll be Saturday morning, and I'll give you lots of notice.
Well, it's supposed to be rainy and crappy here Saturday morning. So yeah, I'll probably be just cruising around the YouTube channel. So I'll see it.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Bye.
All right. Amy, have a good night. Bye.
Night, Mark.
Carolyn got blessed with a random white bush lily that landed itself in the yard on your daughter's first birthday. That is awesome.
That's really cool.
That is really awesome. I love it when I get a mystery plant. Just like, yeah. I had a friend my age, well, close to my age, a little older, and she loved, and she was going to give me a start, and I never got to her garden. She had a beautiful garden. I saw pictures of it. I never got over there. She was a friend from work, and to her garden, and she had these little flowers that would come up. We were talking about them right before she got sick, these little snowdrop things. They're one of the first flowers that come up in the spring. And she passed away from throat cancer before we ever got a chance to do the flower swap. And the very next year on her birthday, I had the little snowdrops come up in my yard that I've never planted.
Oh.
So that is, I think those kind of things are just really cool when you get,
they are.
when those things get planted.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take Tammy anywhere though, because she will threaten to pick seeds from the side of the road.
Hey,
She tried crawling out of the door the other day, and I had to lock the door.
hey, there was echinacea and sedum, and this yard, there was a little turnaround, like a dead end turnaround
Mm-hmm.
off a very busy road, and they had planted the side. It went like up a steep hill and then up to their house, and they had planted between the sidewalk and the road this beautiful garden. It was all in seed, and she was waiting to turn for some cars, and I'm like, if we get this light again. I'm hopping out and I'm gonna pick some seed and I'll hop back in the car. She's like, no, we're leaving.
Well, they wanted you to take.
Oh, sounds like something I would
the
do.
road.
And my husband would go, no, don't do that, don't do that.
my-
He'd be like,
What did you say, Kelly?
I said they wanted you to take them because it was near the road. So
It was
But my
between, it's
husband
their
would
game
die.
between the sidewalk and the road.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go up into their yard and collect seeds, but they didn't debud them, so they must have wanted somebody to come along and or the
Yeah.
birds to go along and plant them. They'd look really good in my yard, or maybe along the rail trail where I also guerrilla garden once in a while.
Q's here.
Oh, hi, Q.
She's down at the
Hey,
bottom.
Q.
I'm way
I know
up here.
you're going through the things.
I'm behind on the comments. Turkey chili with black beans and red. Ooh, that sounds good too.
Yum.
Don't tell my kids, but usually when I do chicken and something, it's turkey because it's cheaper, and I get a lot more when I do a big turkey than doing a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
This kid doesn't care.
Stephanie Kerr.
Tammy,
Oh, go ahead.
I've got a question, Tammy. So you're
Yes.
talking about canning chili with the beans and the meat.
Mhm.
Do the beans go in raw?
Okay. The official
Right.
answer is no, but when I do mine, I do them raw. Unless I'm doing it for supper that night, then they've been cooked, soaked first and cooking. But
Yeah.
I can up my chili before it's fully cooked, so they're only partially cooked when I do it.
Okay.
But if I'm making it from scratch just to can, I will put my beans in raw, and I will put less than half a cup, way less, especially when I'm adding meat, to a pint, or less than 3/4 of a cup, because I'm mixing it with all the other ingredients in a quart. And I will just put those in raw and cook them in the canner. You're
Okay.
not supposed to do that. That is not a USDA approved, but I do not like mushy beans.
Well, and that's my thing. Are they soaked or just plain, just picked over and rinsed?
Just picked over and rinsed when I do them from scratch.
Okay.
When I'm making my chili to eat and then I'm going to can it, those beans I have to soften. So they're pre-soaked and softened before I put them in to cook and eat it. So they're not quite cooked all the way through yet, but those jars of chili will be softer than the ones that I do from scratch. Stephanie said, I've been canning for about 7 years and I still have troubles with siphoning. Any advice would be appreciated. There are 2 things I can tell you that are the easy answers is check your stove element. You may have a problem with your stove element. It may not be heating evenly. Take your stuff up slowly up to temperature. Don't turn it on high to get temperature fast. Try to bring your stuff up slowly to temperature, and then do not take the pressure down after you're done canning. Let it come completely down to 0 before you remove the weight or open the peacock, depending on which type of system you're using. Make sure it's completely down to 0 and the canner is cooled off before you open it, because a lot of siphoning sometimes is from trying to too rapidly let your pressure release. So just let your pressure release slowly. Those are the 2 major things. It's hard to tell without being there physically which one, or if it's something else. Sorry. Oh, yep. See, his grandmother saved a dozen ginkgo seedlings from cracks in a parking lot. That tree that they came off of was a female ginkgo. That's where you need to look again. So, well, we have been on here almost 2.5 hours, which was 24 minutes longer than what I planned on. I'm sure we all have other things to do. So I am going to get off of here. I will see everybody on Saturday morning. If you care to join me, if you have any more questions. Yes, Kelly?
Time Saturday morning.
It is 11:30 on Saturday Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern? Okay, 11:30.
Yep.
Okay.
11:30 Eastern Standard.
I read the Facebook all the time, your group and stuff all the time, but I've never managed to catch you on a live, and I appreciate everything everybody has told me. Laura, great hearing from you, and
Very nice to meet you too, Kelly.
Do you have anything coming up soon, Laura, on your channel?
I just posted a video today. We usually have lives on 7 o'clock on Saturdays, Central Standard Time.
At night.
Mhm.
okay. No, I'm going to go over and check out your. Okay, hedgehogs. You have hedgehogs?
Hedgehog's Homestead.
Hedgehog's Homestead, yeah.
Do you have hedgehogs?
No.
Oh, okay. Just wondered. I was getting even more excited.
It's a twist on our name, so.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that is so cool. Stephanie Kerr said I have calla lilies that volunteered the year of my wedding. That is so awesome.
Oh, that's really cool.
That is so.
That's like a blessing on your marriage.
And yeah, sorry, I got to catch up with the comments before I can leave. Carolyn is she's harvested wisteria off the side of the road. I have been known to do that with elderberries.
I'll see what my elderberry is when it grows up and send you something. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Good night.
Q has ordered some reusable lids for jars. That's okay, Q. I'm just glad you're here.
She didn't see your video today.
Well, nobody's getting notifications right now. I think they're just like
I'm getting them. Well, you know what? I didn't get a notification. I just happened to notice it. I watched it.
Yeah. Sherry Barnes, join the Facebook group. We will help you learn. I promise. We'll do everything we can to help you learn, and you can always come in here and ask questions too. We will help you. Wild asparagus. Yes, I love wild asparagus.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing.
Yes. Well, I planted 50 asparagus crowns 2 years ago. They didn't all come back, but I'm going to plant more this year. Yeah, my yard is either edible or medicinal. Everything I plant in my permaculture food forest has to have a purpose. Okay, I think I'm pretty well caught up as much as I can. Oh, I'm way down here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Quit yapping and answer your questions.
I'm just making sure there's no more questions before I head out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So that was it for the questions. It's been almost 2.5 hours. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I will see you on Saturday morning. And you guys can see Laura on Saturday night. But go check out her channel and see the new video she posted today. See you all later.
All right.